Hey guys, this is Steve Huff from STEVEHUFFphoto.com. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm wearing my Tabasco shirt today because this camera, the Fuji X-T3, is red hot. I've been using it for the past couple of weeks after it came to me for review, and it has surprised the heck out of me, guys. If you missed my first look video, which I titled The King of APS-C, be sure to check that out because it goes over the camera. It shows a focus test during video. I filmed that entire episode with the X-T3. I'll link to that in the description below if you missed it. Also, I've already posted my full written review of the X-T3 at STEVEHUFFphoto.com. I will put that link in the description below as well. There's tons of images, tons of text. I think it's 5,000–6,000 words, so it's a good read. And it talks about my real-world experience using the X-T3. Now, when I review a camera, and I've been reviewing them for 11 years as of November, so next month will be 11 years that I've been doing this over at my website. I always write about the experience of using the camera, the results of using the camera. Does it shoot well in good light, in low light? How does it make you feel? How's the ergonomics? How are the controls? Is it a camera for everyone? So that's what I look at. I don't do scientific test charts and all these crazy scientific tests. And when I test the low light capabilities, I do so in real low light situations. The one thing you don't want to look at is ISO tests done under studio lighting. Those are useless if you're out there actually using the camera. So let's get started. I'm going to quickly talk about what I love about it and the two things I found that could be better. And then I'm going to show you guys some images as I narrate over those images and talk about it, because I believe you must use the camera before you can give a review about it, right? It makes sense. The Fuji X-T3 is the latest and greatest from Fuji, and in my opinion, their best digital camera ever that they've ever created. In fact, it's my favorite APS-C camera of all time, and I've used a lot of them. I've been focusing on mirrorless ever since the original Panasonic Micro Four Thirds days. Was it the GF1? I'm not sure if it was the GF1, something like that. And spans years and years, and I've been reviewing mirrorless cameras for a long time. This is the best mirrorless APS-C camera I have ever used. The new backlit sensor from Fuji is incredible. It has basically breathed new life into Fuji. You can now use a Fuji in these low light conditions where bodies of the past would kind of fail or not give you the best results. I shot this guy between ISO 5000 and ISO 10,000 in cavernous conditions and came away with usable results that are equivalent to some of my full frame cameras. The color coming out of the Fuji is beautiful. I love that you can pick the different film modes. I loved Eterna for video. I love the Standard and Provia for stills, and even the Velvia if I wanted a pop of color when I was at the State Fair. But man, this is a camera that has very few flaws. The video has specs that actually beat out the Sony a7 III. You can shoot 4K 60, and the autofocus, even the face AF, is brilliant. It even has IAF, and it tracks eyes like a champ. This is the first Fuji I've seen with this kind of autofocus that actually competes with the Sony models and the Canon dual pixel. It's beautiful, and again, that first video I made of it, I shot that with the Fuji and I demo the autofocus. I did shoot the camera with the 16 1.4 A lot of you guys recommended I try that lens, and I did, and it is gorgeous. I've also recently shot the Sony 24 1.4 G Master, and I own a Canon 24L 1.4 version 2. The Fuji gives nothing up to those lenses, even though it's really a 16mm. It gives the field of view on APS-C as a 24. So it's kind of equivalent. You can judge it with those other two lenses. And I gotta tell you, the Fuji, being the least expensive, is one of the best of the three, if not equal to those other lenses. So if you own a Fuji, that 16 1.4 is incredible. I also shot it with the brand new Voigtlander 50mm f1.2. It's an M-mount lens, like an M-mount, but I bought a cheap adapter for 10 bucks on Amazon, flipped that lens on, and shot manual focus. I programmed one of the buttons on the camera to magnify so I can critical focus, and I also used that sports finder mode sometimes because it gives a little crop to the image if you want that little bit of extra reach. Crops in camera, you don't have to do it later. I found the JPEGs of the Fuji to be amazing, and my written review at the website is all out of camera JPEGs using various color modes. I shot low light musicians, I shot musicians in okay light, I shot with that manual lens, I shot with the 16mm 1.4 and the kit zoom 18 to 55. I'm going to share some of those images with you here, but not all, and I'm going to talk about them a little bit as we go along. The two weaknesses I found with the Fuji X-T3 are the battery. Sony beats them, Canon beats them, Nikon beats them for battery life. When I say them, I mean Fuji. If this Fuji had a battery that was twice the capacity, it would be amazing. But as it is, if you shoot video or chimp a lot, your battery's not going to last that long. You're going to need 2 or 3 of them. Also, there's no in-body image stabilization. So you don't have that for video. You don't have that smooth motion like you get with, say, the Panasonics. And you don't have any advantage for stills. And you know, if you really think about it, did we have that in the film days? I used to shoot film with a Leica M6, M7. Actually, my favorite cameras even today don't have in-body image stabilization. And I gotta say, I'm gonna give a little plug for this. I just got the GoPro Hero 7 Black, and this thing is amazing. I love this thing because you no longer need a gimbal for smooth footage. Put it in your pocket and you can get really smooth footage anywhere you go. It does decent in low light as well. I'm gonna buy a second one of these. The GoPro 7 is awesome. But as far as the in-body image stabilization of the Fuji, no, it doesn't have it. Does it bother me? No, it wouldn't be a deal breaker for me, and neither would the battery, though those are things I would like to see there, because if Fuji had put them in, it would have made it a perfect camera for APS-C shooters or Fuji shooters. Again, this is the best APS-C camera I've ever shot with. So the color, the speed, the autofocus is fantastic. The IAF is fantastic. The ergonomics are beautiful. The external dials I love. I can change everything from exposure to ISO, whatever I want very easily. And if it's not external, I can hit that Q button and go to that quick menu where I can change anything I want very quickly. The EVF is beautiful and large, really second only to the Leica SL that I have. It's a very big, nice looking EVF. Gone are the days of crap quality electronic viewfinders. This one has a good one. It does have a LCD screen that's nice, and touch screen, though not full touch functionality like some cameras. It does not have a fully articulating screen, meaning you can't flip it out in front of you and vlog. I feel Fuji should have done that because this would make for a great vlog camera due to the amazing autofocus and colors that you can get out of the camera if you tweak it. So let's take a look at some photos from the Fuji X-T3 and we'll talk about them a little bit. Alright, here are a few photos with the Fuji X-T3. This one with the 16-1.4 wide open, shot at the Arizona State Fair at ISO 5000, out of camera JPEG, shot in Velvia mode. So this is pretty impressive for the ISO. Here's one in Acros mode at ISO 10,000. This was shot out of camera JPEG. Noise reduction set to -3. I always turn down the noise reduction to as low as possible. Here's one that I shot in a house we were looking at. This kind of shows the dynamic range. Look at those highlight areas. You can still see some detail in the highlights. This was with the DR set to 400%, and the Fuji has something like 11.2 stops of dynamic range. This is just a shot in the mirror. Color was standard mode, again with the 16:1.4. I was also using it a little bit as a vlogging camera that day, so you could see the little tripod on it. 16:1.4 of Debbie. This is wide open at 1.4. You can see the way the lens renders. As always with Fuji, you get natural skin tones and color right out of the camera. Looking good here, and here's one. I believe this was ISO 5000 taken at night. I've shot this building before with other cameras like Leicas and Sonys, and the Fuji did not disappoint here at ISO 5000, right out of the camera, JPEG. This was shot in Velvia mode. We were at a club called the Rhythm Room in Phoenix to watch a band and shoot some pictures possibly, which I shot a few, which are coming up here. That was with the 16:1.4. Here's one with the 50:1.2 Voigtlander, the M-mount lens, mounted to the X-T3 via an adapter. I shot this in Acros mode right out of the camera, and this old couple was dancing. It was a cool thing to see. Here is the Singer, again shot in Acros mode, black and white, JPEG, right out of the camera at f1.2 with that Voigtlander 50 f1.2, shooting that lens. And the next couple of photos here, the next few photos here are with that lens. They're all shot wide open at f1.2. I may have missed focus a little bit here and there with these, but it was just off by a little, and that would be my fault, even though I did assign the front button of the camera to magnify the view so it would be much easier to nail focus. But these are right out of the camera. This is ISO 6400. Again, noise reduction set to the lowest in the camera that I possibly could. So ISO 6400 is looking pretty good. Here is one that was shot in the lowest light club I go to, the Lost Leaf in Phoenix. This is at f1.2. You're looking at around ISO 6400 right here or so. And the next one is also a high ISO. This one may have been 8000. But this club is lit by like a red bulb, so that's why these images look so red. That's the light source, and the Fuji actually portrayed that red light source without blowing it out, without, you know, I've seen some cameras in this venue that could not handle that red light, and you would see the dynamic range just blow that red. The Fuji handles it quite well, which equals some of the full frame cameras I've shot in here. Here's a black and white again of the keyboardist of the band. This was again, you can see these photos at my website at the review, and you can click on them and get the full EXIF information. Here's ISO 10K. You can see some grain, but that adds to the image. That little bit of grit, in my opinion, adds to the image. Think about it. This is APS-C at ISO 10,000. Here's another one at the same ISO. This guy was playing his horn. It's a very unique kind of rendering above the horn. I don't know why it's so smeared there, but that's not the lens problem. That was whatever was going on in the venue. Here's one again. This has to be ISO somewhere between 6400 and 8000. But look at those deep reds, just as I saw it in person in real life. The camera was capturing it. Sometimes I have to turn these red ones to black and white when the cameras can't handle it. Here's an image that had the noise reduction set to 0, which was standard out of the box. You can see a little mushiness in his face where the noise reduction was doing its thing. That's why I like to set it at -3. I'd rather have a little bit of grain than some mushiness. 16:1.4 at 1.4, I was testing the depth of field. A little bit of a close focus while we were having lunch at Portillo's, which we get maybe once per year here. And this is also with the 16:1.4. You can kind of see the bokeh in the background and how the image, how the subject separates from the background. So you can get plenty shallow depth of field with that 16mm lens. It is a gorgeous lens. If I bought this Fuji, and this would be the Fuji I bought if I was buying a Fuji, I would buy this lens first and foremost with the camera. It's a beautiful, beautiful lens. It's under $1,000. I think it's like 900, 850, something like that. Another one with the 16-1.4. We were watching a band Mini Kiss at the State Fair. I got up and took a picture of his shoe with the 16 just to see again how the subject rendered and how it all came together. So there you go. Those were some of the photos I took using the Fuji. It's a fantastic camera. I love it to death. I own so many cameras now. I don't know if I can afford to buy one, but if I were to buy a Fuji, I would buy the Fuji X-T3 above any others from Fuji without question. If you want to check it out, I'll put links in the description below. You know the drill. And if you like this video, thumbs up and subscribe. I will see you guys next time.